The snow fell softly on the empty street, each flake catching the amber glow of the streetlights like tiny stars descending from the dark winter sky. Sarah pulled her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders as she sat on the cold metal bench. At the bus stop, the wind cut through the fabric easily, reminding her of how little protection it offered against the December night. She had been sitting there for 3 hours now, watching buses come and go. People climbed on with their warm coats and full wallets, heading home to houses with heat and dinner waiting on the table. Sarah had nowhere to go. The shelter had been full again tonight, and her last $20 had gone to a sandwich that, morning dot at 22, Sarah had never imagined she would be living on the streets. 6 months ago, she had been working at a coffee shop and sharing a small apartment with 2 roommates. Then the shop closed down, and without steady income, she couldn't make rent. Her roommates found someone else quickly. Her family lived 3 states away, and pride had kept her from calling them when things got desperate. Now, as the snow continued to fall, Sarah wondered how she had let herself get to this point. Her stomach ached with hunger, and her fingers were growing numb despite being tucked into her jacket sleeves. She watched her breath create small clouds in the frigid air and tried to think of what to do next. That was when she heard the small voice. "Excuse me, lady." Sarah looked down to see a little girl standing beside the bench. The child couldn't have been more than 4 years old, with dark hair peeking out from under a knitted winter hat. She wore a bright red coat that looked warm and well-made, though it had clearly seen some wear. In her small mittened hands, she held what appeared to be a wrapped sandwich. "Hi there," Sarah said softly, surprised to see such a young child out so late. She glanced around looking for parents or guardians, but the street remained empty except for the 2 of them. The little girl stepped closer, her big brown eyes studying Sarah with the direct, honest gaze that only children possess. "Are you cold?" she asked. Sarah nodded slowly. "Yes, I am a little cold." "Are you hungry too?" Again, Sarah nodded. There was something about the child's straightforward questions that made it impossible to lie. The girl held out the wrapped sandwich. "This is for you. It's peanut butter and jelly. I made it myself, but I'm not hungry right now." Sarah stared at the offering, feeling her throat tighten with emotion. "That's very kind of you, sweetheart, but I can't take your food. Where are your parents?" The little girl's expression grew serious, and she sat down on the bench beside Sarah. "Without invitation. My daddy went to heaven last month. Now it's just me and my foster family, but they're not very nice. They forget to make me dinner sometimes, and they don't like it when I ask questions." Sarah felt her heart break a little. She looked more carefully at the child, noticing now that despite the nice coat, the girl's face looked thin, and there were dark circles under her young eyes. "What's your name?" Sarah asked gently. "Emma," the girl replied. "What's yours?" "I'm Sarah." She paused, studying Emma's earnest face. "Emma, where do you live?" "Shouldn't you be at home right now?" Emma shrugged, swinging her small legs from the bench. I snuck out. They probably won't notice until morning. They watch TV really loud and drink stuff that smells funny. She looked up at Sarah with those penetrating brown eyes. "You don't have a home either, do you?" The question caught Sarah off guard. Children saw things so clearly without the complications adults created. "Not right now, no." Emma nodded thoughtfully as if this made perfect sense. "That's okay. Maybe we can help each other." "What do you mean?" "Well," Emma said, settling more comfortably on the bench, "you need a home and I need a mommy. Maybe we could be a family." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The simplicity and innocence of the proposal nearly broke her heart. "Oh, Emma. Honey, it's not that easy. There are rules and laws, and I'm not in a position to take care of anyone right now." "But you're taking care of me right now," Emma pointed out logically. "You're talking to me nice, and you're worried about me being cold. The people at my house don't do that." Sarah looked at this wise little girl and felt something shift inside her chest. Emma was right in the way that children often were. Despite having nothing, Sarah found herself wanting to protect this small person who had appeared in her life like an answer to a prayer she hadn't known she was praying. "Emma, what if we made a deal?" Sarah said slowly, an idea beginning to form. What? If we helped each other, but we did it the right way. Emma's eyes lit up with interest. What kind of deal? Well, you obviously need someone who cares about you, and I need to get my life back together. What if we became a team? I could talk to the right people about your foster situation, and maybe we could find a way to make things better for both of us. Emma considered this seriously, her small brow furrowed in concentration. Would you really do that? Even though you don't have a house? Especially because I don't have a house, Sarah said, surprised by the conviction in her own voice. Sometimes the people who have the least are the ones who understand the most about what really matters. Emma reached over and took Sarah's cold hand in her small, mittened one. What really matters? Love, Sarah said simply, and making sure no one feels alone. They sat together in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the snow continue to fall. Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced in months: purpose. This little girl needed her, and somehow that made her feel stronger than she had in a very long time. Sarah? Emma said quietly. Yes? I'm still going to give you the sandwich. And tomorrow can we start our team? Sarah looked down at the wrapped sandwich Emma was pressing into her hands, then at the small, hopeful face beside her. For the first time in months, the future didn't look completely dark. Yes, Emma, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Tomorrow we start our team. As another bus approached through the swirling snow, Sarah made a decision. Instead of watching it pass by as she had all evening, she stood up and held out her hand to Emma. Come on, partner, she said. Let's go find the people who can help. U.S. help each other. Emma took her hand without hesitation, and together they stepped toward the bus, toward tomorrow, toward the beginning of something that neither of them could have imagined when the snow began to fall that evening. Sometimes, Sarah thought as they climbed aboard, the most important families are the ones we choose for ourselves.